Good Monday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. You ever feel like your weekend was stolen? It's over? It flew by, didn't it? Monday already again. Today is January the 9th. It is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. If you happen to run into an officer there, thank them for their duty. Maybe it's not a good idea if they're writing you a speeding ticket. Y'all drive a little bit slower this morning. And speaking of the drive-in, make sure you drive extremely slower this morning, as we do have a lot of fog in the area. And what I mean by that is you literally cannot see in areas this morning. Let me pull this up as we take a quick look here at Meridian Honda radar as to what we've got so far this morning when it comes to fog. And there's a lot of it. If you'll see this on radar, this is the Meridian area, and this will start in Clark County, go northward here. And this eastern side, Wyandotte area, which tells us Highway 19. Let's look at this. If you've got to travel it for any reason here, right out by Southeast School, anywhere from Camp Bonacci past that red light, it's thick. Now, this other area from Wyandotte on into Meridian is heavy. That's going to be the worst of what we've got. And that starts here in Clark County, and we'll go northward there at Energy Church. And by the time you get to Long Creek, Causeyville area there, real bad there. Causeyville Ball Field, all of those areas there. So keep that in mind. And this is going to go northward through Kemper County, right on up here, eastern side of Newton County here. We got fog over in Newton, but when you get to Decatur, just east of there, Little Rock area, heavy Union, Mississippi. And this goes northward all the way up here through the Neshoba County Fairgrounds, basically all of Neshoba County and most of Kemper County. Light fog, as we see there, all the way up to Sugarlock and almost all the way to Lake Teocata. We do have fog out here by J&S Food and over by the church here in Louisville at Shiloh. So those areas, and still thick as can be there at Nanawaya Pit Stop. So a lot of areas to be concerned with. And even west of here, if you've got to travel toward Jackson, a dense fog advisory in effect for those areas this morning. So a bunch of it. We want you to be careful crossing that Mississippi River Bridge, as you'll see there. May not be easy to see the bridge. And look at Louisiana, Alexandria, Natchez, Mississippi. So it's some areas of concern this morning as you start your day. School buses are going to be rolling for all of the kids. That tells us throughout these 4 counties here, and even over into York, Alabama, toward Demopolis. Drive slower. Kids are out, can't see things as good, and we want no accidents to happen today. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I think so. Well, let's head out to Collinsville, Mississippi. See what Brother Ben has to tell us. And it has a little something to do with, well, a little bitty seed. Y'all have seen them before. I'll let Ben tell you more.
You undoubtedly have tasted mustard before, but have you ever seen a mustard seed? It really is a tiny seed, about 1 millimeter in diameter, which is about the diameter of a sharpened pencil lead. In Matthew 13, Jesus said it was the smallest of seeds. Now, he was speaking experientially there, not scientifically. You see, it was the smallest seed the people in his community were familiar with. And it is indeed a small seed, but man, it grows and grows into a tree that blesses the ecosystem around it. Jesus says that the kingdom of God is like that mustard seed. It would start out small, but would grow and grow into a massive kingdom that blesses all in it and around it. Just think about it. Christianity began with just a few followers of Jesus Christ in his day, but today over 2.2 billion people consider themselves to be Christians. That's mustard seed growth of Jesus. While the kingdom of God started out small, it's now super big, but guess what? There's always room for one more. Yeah, there's room for you. Come on in. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Getting reports of thick fog as well just north of Scooba there on Highway 45. If you're heading toward Presley Bottom, that area near Wahala, be careful there. It's going to be thick all the way to Sugarlock. It could even be a little bit worse after that. So we want you to be careful. And talking about Scooba, let's remind this to everyone. If you're in the need and you have to have tater logs each day, you better go stack up today if you live on the west side of the railroad tracks. Why? You can't cross it tomorrow. They're going to be shutting that down tomorrow as we look at this. The railroad is going to be doing maintenance, and they're putting this out. It's going to start from 7 until 5. So no trips if you live, well, anywhere over by the college. Anywhere in that downtown area there, you will not be able to reach Highway 45. Not by just crossing the track. So cut you off from the Dollar General, both gas stations where they make Subway sandwiches and tater logs. Be a little bit of an adjustment for you there. So stock up this afternoon if you've got to have something between 7 and 5. And if you have to go to work to DeKalb, I highly suggest crossing before 6:30. That's just a little heads up there to warn you about what's coming in Kemper County tomorrow morning with the railroad. Do hope all that works out for you. Did you see this? The whale that washed up on shore in Mississippi. Well, it was there and they drug it out. A very rare whale as we look at this. It's a fin whale. We had some folks that were there that took a few pictures of this. This was here on the beach past Christiane. He's a big boy. If I understand right, there's not been about 100 of these known. So a bad thing that we lost this fella there. They're going to investigate. I'm sure they'll know more before long as they figure out maybe what happened. Was he sick? Don't know. But a rarity there. It happened in the great state of Mississippi. We had a bunch of fires over the weekend. A lot of people had damage. We had tons of brush fires that I can't even list. There were so many. Be careful if you're burning. These windy conditions do cause more. Second common thing that we've heard a lot this weekend was stove fires. Cooking on the stove, and the next thing you know, it just blew out of proportion. And that was throughout all of the areas there. And each county had a bunch of trouble with that. And we'll go deeper into that coming up this morning at 8 o'clock as Candace rolls in during this foggy morning to let you know. Friday, I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but we did have someone from the state level in Meridian as we posted this as the lieutenant governor came to town. He was here to announce his bid for re-election for lieutenant governor. Delbert Hoseman, if you'll look here, he was out at Structural Steel visiting with everyone. Tommy Delaney hung out with Ward a little bit. It was a great day to have someone over, and as they announced it, and they picked Structural Steel to do that. Sort of the working man's place. So we hope all is well there. We're also going to go over this morning. Donna Gill's office has been busy in Lauderdale County, and I would presume the same thing in Clark and Kemper and Neshoba counties, and even on the edge of Alabama, folks getting ready for voting. We'll tell you who's up. And a lot of people have added on. They've got till February 1st. So if you're watching thinking, well, I need to run, I've been thinking about it. You've got a few days left of this. The 1st of February is the deadline. You have to make up your mind by then if you're going to run for office. We did over the weekend have one person shot. You go, Lord, I didn't know about it. Well, it did happen as we pull this up to show you here on 23rd Street. As we look to this, let me put on here and smile. It's 10th Avenue and 23rd Street is where that happened. They were transported to a local hospital. They were shot twice in the foot, ankle area. He commenced to bleeding pretty bad. They've been rushed there. I think they'll be okay. Might have a limp for a little while. No word yet on how that actually went down. One can only imagine, can't we? We're learning more about this, and hopefully we'll find more here in the next little bit. There was an accident in Newton County, a four-wheeler accident. We do know that 3 people were taken to the hospital. 1 person was taken by life flight. And I'm also understanding there may have been another one last night that had to be transported from a hospital to Jackson Life Flight. We'll find out more today as things begin to release about this. As we spoke to Sheriff Jody Pennington over the weekend when it all happened, it was very few details. At that point, he just knew that 3 people had been injured. We'll let you know more about that. It was in the Highway 489 areas where that happened. On the helicopter picked him up on the Newton Conahatta Road where they could land safely. So let's send up a few prayers on that. It never sounds good when the word life flight is brought into that. We'll find out more about that. Still learning this as well, and we hope to find out more of that. We had a pedestrian struck in Meridian. It ended up being, from the best of my research and the people that were near there, that this was a hit and run. It was someone trying to cross Highway 19. They were bumped with a car. I don't believe the injuries to be life-threatening. They were taken to a local hospital for treatment. Kind of tough sometimes to get all the information that we need. And we'll talk a lot about what else went on. A lot of gunshots this weekend. We did have car chases. Boy, there's a bunch of those. We'll get deeper into this morning, beginning at 8 o'clock as Candace makes her way in. So I hope you'll join us for that. Now, maybe you heard about this yesterday on the edge of Alabama. You ever been going into the Tuscaloosa area and it starts that cops are real bad there? And when I say real bad, what I mean is, well, if you're speeding, they give you tickets in the Foster area. That's on the outskirts of Tuscaloosa. You're getting into that, and you come in speeding, the speed limit drops there. 2 bodies were found there yesterday. We don't know a lot. They did block off the interstate and shut that down where you had to go around it for a little while. Hopefully today more will come out of this. One was found on the interstate. One was found not far from I-20. Vicki Stewart, good morning to you. Lamar Hembry's up. We did see over the weekend that we did lose from Southern Miss, former head coach Jim Carmody. He passed away at the age of 89. Also, I don't know if many of you remember this, and I only remember because I was a small kid and we got 3 TV channels. Y'all remember that? PBS being one of those. You had to really strain to see what you were going to get. Times have changed, haven't they? But did anybody remember the TV show 8 is Enough? The little bitty fella, the youngest kid that was kind of like the star of the show, Adam Rich, passed away this weekend at the age of 54. They have not told who, what, or why, but he did pass away. That's shocking. That's sort of young there. We don't know a lot yet, but as we look to Bolton, Mississippi, a 38-year woman and her 3-year-old child were reported killed on Saturday. MBI is investigating this as a homicide. The identities have not been released yet. State of Mississippi, so MBI involved with that. As soon as we find out more on that also, we'll tell you. As we go to near the Alabama state line, George County in Mississippi, a 25-year-old was killed in an accident over the weekend with there. We pass condolences to their family after that. Let's see a few other things that are happening this morning. This is going to be big. I think it's tonight. Is it tomorrow, the drawing? I can't remember. But it's up to $1.1 billion in the lottery. Have you bought one yet? Might be worth $1 or $2 to try to win that. $1.1 billion. It's Tuesday is when the drawing is. So if you get a chance, pick you up one. Maybe you might be the one that walks away with all that. We'll talk a little bit this morning at 8 o'clock. I hope you'll join us on this. You ever listen to NPR, to where you turn on the radio and it's always those low channels in the 88s where they have no personality, where it's all one tone and they never get excited about anything. There's a call to defund them. The article I read said that, it really is more left than a curve on a NASCAR racetrack. I think a lot of you will agree with that. Make a ball on Tuesday night, Wanda said. We see here the school teacher. Have y'all seen this? This was a big headline. I think it was somewhere around Friday in Virginia, where a school teacher and a 6-year-old, that many, came to school with a gun. She went to take it away from him, and he squeezed the trigger because he didn't want her to take it. It's doubtful any charges are going to be filed against the fellow. But what about the parents? Where does this go? How did the child get the gun? How did it end up at school? Probing questions that we all want to know. Yeah, and a lot of this stuff, and this leads into the next story of some national headlines that I'm looking at this morning, is go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's a lot that needs to be taught in the homes. And we've said it before. How do you solve problems? All this stuff that's going on the street, it is in the home. You have to be taught right from wrong somewhere. After you're 18 or 20 years old, there's no teaching you right from wrong. We know that. A 9-year-old, no, it's a 12-year-old. is in police custody. They're carefully wording it that way after stabbing her 9-year-old brother while their parents slept. Now, what on earth would make something like that happen? Boy, howdy. Still got that young lady begging. I don't know if y'all remember this. A girl lived in Alabama, and she thought that the United States was such a horrible place that she left. She even joined up with ISIS. She happened to marry three, what do they call them? Jihadas? I don't know. Is that they're basically ISIS fighters. She married them. She's still begging to come back to the United States. My vote is no. Oh, now Obama did strip her citizenship from the United States away, which was the right move. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. New Albany, we pass along condolences to that area in the state of Mississippi, where a Mississippi woman lost her life in a house fire over the weekend. Doesn't get any worse than that, does it? Had a large fire also, Jackson, Mississippi, downtown area, an abandoned building caught on it. 5 fire trucks showed up to put the blaze out. And again, in most cases, these things like this happen in some shape, form, or way with someone trying to seek shelter there. The fire broke out yesterday afternoon, right around 6 o'clock in the Jackson area. To my knowledge, everything is working here. Joey Henson wanted to know if I had any technical difficulties. Everything's showing that I work fine. Got a green signal, says all thumbs up on my end. Try YouTube. Sometimes it is certain platforms that you use that have issues. Flip over to YouTube, try it. You can also try, we're on Twitter as well. We'll be right back as we'll bring you your forecast next as this morning gets underway. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Have you been hurt on the job? Call Will Parker. Get the help you deserve. Call Will Parker. Know your rights when it comes to the workplace injuries. Call Will Parker. Call or go online at parkerfirm.net. Call your Meridian lawyer, Will Parker.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Speaking of that, as we talk about January and the threat of bad weather, there is a level 1 for the Meridian area on Thursday. And we'll look at this on the maps here in just a little bit. And then this will increase for the Alabama side to a level 2. So is there a chance it could change for Mississippi? Yes. But at this point, it's a 1 on the Mississippi side as we go into Alabama on Thursday, severe storms. And the further east you go from Mississippi, the worse it will be. We'll watch it closely and let you know. Let's go back to radar real quick before we get into all the details this morning and look at what you're traveling into as we go back and pull up Meridian Honda radar. Again, over in the Jackson area, all of this, Scott County picks up with the fog advisory. It doesn't change the fact right here in Meridian, we've got a lot of fog from downtown Quitman there at the courthouse due north, right through Stonewall Enterprise area is thick. As we get into eastern Lauderdale County, even thicker, the Toom-Suba area. Let's turn on these locations. Highway 19, that area right there, getting closer down now to Wyandotte Motor Sports Park, and this will pick up heavy fog there in Causesville there at the ball field. Moving north all the way up around southeast. So school buses in these areas, be careful. All the way out here. Even the yellow is thick. This orangey color is a little worse, and that's the extreme when it comes to the red. As we look at this down here now, just east of Enterprise, it's thick, but if you're on your way to Highway 45 through there, be careful. That's going to be on Highway 514 this morning as we look at that. Moving northward, still a lot of fog up in Kemper on the eastern side, sort of moving out of the Neshoba County area, getting a break now. You're going to stay into some fog all the way past the Lauderdale County line if you're headed toward Philadelphia this morning. Drive careful. Most of all, we want you to arrive there in one piece, don't we? We sure do. All right, let's get into what the National Weather Service tells us for today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
We go back for the record highs and record lows. 1957, as that Chevy was getting to come off the assembly line. It was 80 degrees today, a warm one. Back in 1970, there's a few of you that will remember that. 8 degrees today. Burr. As we look at the forecast for today, 57, 58 is going to be about the high. Philadelphia, a tad cooler, 56. And at Columbus Air Force Base, we should see around 55. Warmer over at Yazoo at 58, and even warmer as we get to Vicksburg, 60, 61 in Natchez. As we go east into Bama, we're looking at 56 in Tuscaloosa, 57. Demopolis, Alabama, we should see about 57 there. And Livingston, Alabama also. Not bad weather at all. Now, as I mentioned, this is the outlook that we're looking at right now as they do the call from the National Weather Service to let us know that severe storms are likely. This should start during the early morning hours and go to about lunch on Thursday. Again, with this, we'll have the chance of isolated storms, damaging wind gusts, hail. Tornado cannot be ruled out. But again, this side here is a level 1. As we move into the Alabama side, Demopolis, Alabama, all of these areas will be under a level 2. And that puts us at damaging wind gusts of 60 miles an hour. A tornado cannot be ruled out. We'll watch this to see if this changes any. And again, this many days out, these usually do the lines of where the bad weather is going to be. I was double checking that that's where that pause come from. It changes usually this many days out. So we will be on this and watch this for you as it gets closer. As we've already talked about the fog this morning, it's still out there. Now, this will stay with us through about 9 a.m. Slow down, use your low beam headlights. Don't get in too big of a hurry this morning. Too many kids waiting for school buses. We want you to be cautious by all means. As we look, the temperatures, can y'all believe this is January? Look at this. Not hardly a cold place on the map. Southern California has a breeze, but it's not cold. Look at this. Hot all through the deep south. As we look at our temperatures, look at this now. Today we're at 58. As we roll into tomorrow, Tuesday beginning of the day, 65. Now tonight, cool. When you get up in the morning, it will be very similar to the way it is today. We're 37 right now, 36 in the morning. By Wednesday, the temperatures rise. We'll get to 71. And when those storms arrive on Thursday, we're looking at 70 again, and they will slowly go away. Bring a little bit cooler weather there, 53, 54 for Saturday, and 61 on Sunday over the weekend. As we go for another week there, we're still not really cold in any shape, form, or way. We're look at that, 60, 73, nighttime lows, upper 40s to low 50s. Bunch of rain forecasted there in the latter part of January. Before long, deer season is going to be over, isn't it? I hadn't had a chance to go once this year. What is going on? I got to get my act together. That's a look at that. And let's talk about fishing this morning as we go out to Chet's Paint and Body. What's going on with it? Well, we'll see that today, some of the best time was before daylight. Your second time will be this afternoon. The best time around 2 o'clock, and that will last until roughly 4:15. We do have a south, north, northeast wind, 5 to 10, becoming northeast in the afternoon. That confuse anybody other than just me? A lot of wind directions there. As we look at the deer hunting forecast today, what needs to happen? The best time to be in the woods today will be, it was before daylight. Second major time will be this afternoon at 3:30, right there for that afternoon hunt till 5:30. Again, brought to you by our friends at Collinsville Meat. Drop in and visit with them. Again, a little bit of wind out there, 5 to 10 is what we've got today. Let's see what else we've got here. We've checked the radar. All of that is good. No major changes on that. Now, again, as I said, we've got the show coming up this morning. I hope you'll come back. 1 hour and 4 minutes from now is what's on my clock. I'll go over and make sure we don't have any breaking news in between 9 and 10 at the top of the hour. So good to see so many of you up and at 'em. Hey, Miss Joyce Snowden Godwin, how are you? Glad to see you as well. Put a smile on y'all. Watch this fog, those school buses. I can't stress that enough as we begin our day. January the 9th. Whew, we're getting along, aren't we? Almost 10 days into the month. Our lives fly by, don't they? They scream by. Enjoy each moment as you can, because I'm telling you, you don't get a second chance at this. Well, not on this earth. There's a happier place we all know about. We'll see you soon in roughly an hour. As Candace gets that makeup, she'll be here. She'll be ready for you this morning. I hope you'll join us. See you soon from the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: